Hi, welcome to On Your Yoga Mat. This is Jason here, and this is lesson 5, the 5th in a series of 13 lessons, which makes up 3 months. This Learn Ashtanga Yoga in 3 months. This is a key lesson, and well done if you've got this far, because today we're going to have a go at doing all of the sun salutations. That's 5 A sun salutations, 3 B sun salutations, and all of the standing postures. We did a good 3/4 or more of the standing postures in lesson 4, and we're just going to add on the last few. So if you've just come across this and you want a little bit more information, my advice would be go back, lesson 1, lesson 2. It's incremental. We're building on this challenging physical practice that eventually will last an hour and a half. And that's something that over time you can learn, because this is a fixed sequence of postures linked to the breath and the movement. Breath by breath we can get through, and I'm giving you some advice and some variations on all of the postures. This is just to give you an overview so you can get a feel for it. This is a work in progress. This is a life's work. I've been practicing this Ashtanga Yoga series, this primary series, for well over 10 years, and every time I practice, find a little bit more depth to it, a little bit further to go. Remembering as well, day to day, week to week, things can feel differently. And I'm going to pre-record the talking when I just practice to what we've covered. So the sun salutations and all of the standing postures. And then I'll come back and I'll see you at the end and see how you got on. And then this is a great, even if you don't go any further than this is a really great 30-minute practice that you can do anytime. And there's a PDF to go with this. You can download that. And then if you wish to go on to lesson 6, that's exploring the seated postures. So I'll come back and see you at the end, see how you got on, and enjoy your practice. So ready to begin at the front of the mat. Feet close, hands by sides. Keep breathing in and out through the nose as we start the first sun salutation. Inhale, float the arms up and look gently up. As you exhale, you might want to soften the knees and gently put the hands on the ground or on your shins. Stay low. Inhale, lift the gaze, look forwards. Exhale, bend the knees, just gently step back, knees down, elbows in as you lower. Inhale, gently lift the chest, eventually upward facing dog. Exhale, press back into your first downward facing dog. If you want to soften the knees, that's okay, but we're breathing 5 steady breaths. That's 2. Try and keep the hips lifting as much as you can. Fingers spread into the mat behind your head. 3. At any point, if it becomes a bit too much, you can just come down onto the knees, just take a breather. Try and keep the face nice and relaxed. 4. Smooth breath in through the nose. Keep the fingers spread into the mat behind your head. Smooth breath out. Is 5. As you inhale, look forwards, gently stepping the feet back to the front of the mat. Exhale, gently fall down, let the head hang. Inhale, pressing through the feet, float the arms up, look up at the space between your palms. Exhale, hands back to sides. Nice and steady on this second one. Smooth breath in, float the arms up, gently look up. Smooth breath out. Remember, you can soften the knees, hands go down and let the head hang. Stay low with the hands, straight arms, straight back, lift the gaze. It's important to bend the knees, hands completely flat, fingers spread, lowering down, elbows in. Inhale, this is actually cobra to begin with and eventually upward facing dog. A nice way in. As you exhale, and either way pressing back to the second downward facing dog that we hold for 5 breaths. So the feet should be about 10-15 centimeters apart and parallel as you look back. You obviously can't see your hands, but you can feel the fingers spread nice and wide into the mat behind your head. Try and feel some support from your abdomen, so a sense that you inhale through the nose and you fill the lungs. Exhale, empty the lungs. That's already 4 breaths. You're doing really well. Keep breathing. Is 5. Bend the knees. Inhale. Couple of steps through, feet close together, front of the mat, look up. Exhale, gently folding down, let the head hang. Press down through the feet, float the arms up, but try and keep a nice amount of space around the shoulders as you look up. And then exhale, hands by sides, palms facing in. Third one, inhale, float the arms up, and eventually the palms can get a little bit closer. Exhale, folding down, keep the legs switched on as you let the head hang. Stay low with the hands, straight arms straight back. Bend the knees, hands flat down, fingers spread. Eventually a little jump back, elbows in as you lower down. Inhale, press into the toes, and eventually, like this, thighs off the ground is upward facing dog. Exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. Try and feel a nice amount of space around the shoulders and that energy spiraling down through the arms and out through the fingertips. At the same time, you're trying to move your heels gently back to the mat behind you. The legs are active, so don't worry if your legs aren't straight, but over time, working gently the muscles above kneecaps and thighs to keep the legs switched on and the hips are lifting is already 4 breaths. One more smooth breath in through the nose, face relaxed, mouth closed. Smooth breath out is 5. Inhale, eventually a little jump or step the feet back to the front of the mat, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold the head down, soften the knees if you need to, but nice strong legs now as you press down through the toes, float the arms up, gently look up. Exhale, hands to sides. Keep breathing. Inhale, float the arms up. See if you can get the palms a little bit closer, but the priority is to keep the arms straight. As you exhale, fold down. Don't worry if you can't get your hands down on the mat. Just put your hands on shins or ankles. Stay low though. As you inhale, look up, straight arms straight back. Exhale, once the hands are down, a little jump back if you can, but no problem to step back, elbows in, press to lower down. Inhale, don't worry if you're not doing upward facing dog, cobra would do, and then either way, pressing back into your down facing dog. When you do cobra or upward facing dog, even though we're not in it now, just making sure everything feels okay along the length of the spine. And now we're in downward facing dog, we just maintain that quality of breath. We're trying to stay fairly still in the posture, keeping the body still, and then it's an opportunity to really focus in to the sensations throughout the entire body and to the sensation of breathing with steady control. Smooth, even breathing. It's already 4 breaths. And 5. Inhale, jumping or stepping through to the front of the mat, lift the gaze. Exhale, folding down, just let the head hang. Inhale, press through the feet. Last movement, float the arms up, look up. Exhale, hands by sides. On in this 5th and last one, the Sanskrit numbers to count us through. Ekam 1, inhale, arms up. Dwe is the second count, 2, exhale, folding down. Trini is the Sanskrit number 3, inhale, lift the gaze. Chatwari is 4, as you jump or step the feet back, doesn't matter how you get back, just now lower down. For Pancha, inhale, upward facing dog, lift the chest through, roll the shoulders back. And Shat is 6, it's a 6th movement of this Sun Salutation, which we hold for 5 breaths. That's 1. Don't worry if your breathing isn't synced up to my counting, but just keep your awareness on the full deep breathing. Is 2. 3. See if you can keep moving your chest back towards your toes, so we're gently lengthening the spine. 4. One more breath. 5. Sapta, the 7th movement, is jumping or stepping to the front of the mat, stay low, lift the gaze. Ashto, 8, exhale, folding down, let the head hang. Nava's 9, the last movement, inhale, arms up, look up. And then exhale, and Samastitihi, hands by sides, feet together. Ready for Surya Namaskara B, the 2nd Sun Salutation, as we bend the knees and then inhale, float the arms up, look up. Exhale, you might want to soften the knees. Again, hands on shins, ankles, and eventually on the ground. Inhale, head up, just as before. Exhale, make sure the hands are planted down to step or jump back, elbows in. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. But we keep moving now. Left heel turns in and right foot steps through as you bend the knee. See if you can float the arms up and eventually look up, just whatever feels okay for you. Exhale, hands back down on the ground. Step that right foot back and elbows into lower down. Again, inhale, upward facing dog. Press back into the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Switching sides, right heel turns in and it's the left foot that steps through as you bend the knee. as much as you can. See if you can float the arms up and look up. Exhale, straight back down, step that left foot back, knees down if you need to, elbows in. Inhale, remember if upward facing dog is too much with the thighs off the ground, cobra, a little bit less will do, and then exhale back into the down facing dog. Now this is the challenge because after the extra movements of the second sun salutation, this down facing dog might feel a little bit more challenging. So as I'm doing here, I might soften the knees a little bit. I'm letting the head hang, the neck is free, space around the shoulders, fingers spreading into the mat behind my head. And again, if you're just struggling, just come down onto your knees. There's plenty of time to build up the stamina to hold more of these down-facing dogs. So if you need a breather in cat posture, that's no problem. Wherever you are, that's already 4 breaths. And 1 more breath is 5. So again, we inhale, jump, or maybe just step the feet close together, front of the mat, straight arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, folding down. Remember, hands could be on the legs, but bend the knees. Can you sink down a little bit and float the arms up as you look up? And then exhale, straight legs, hands to sides. Well done. So pacing ourselves for 2 more of these. Bend the knees, sink down, arms up, look up. Exhale, the hips lift. You can straighten the legs a little bit. Hands go down and the head hangs. Stay low, straight arms, straight back. Lift the chest, look up. Bend the knees, hands flat down. Eventually a little jump back or step back, elbows in, but press the mat away from you to lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift the chest. Exhale all the way back. Downward facing dog. Left heel turns in and try and keep that left heel on the mat. Eventually that right foot stepping through between the hands to float the arms up into warrior, just for a breath. So as we exhale, we're straight back down, step that right foot back, elbows in, press to lower down. Keep breathing. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right heel turns in, try and keep that back right heel on the mat. So the left foot steps through as far as feels okay. Bend the knee a little if you can. Look up. Good. Exhale, hands flat down, spread the fingers, step back and lower down. Inhale, press back into the toes, upward facing dog. Try and lift the chest forwards, roll the shoulders back, and then rolling back over the toes, down facing dog. And try to resist the temptation of walking the feet in. Obviously, if you need to, you can soften the knees, but you can see my profile from the side here. It's kind of like a 90-degree shape eventually. So you're trying to move your chest back towards the toes. The hips are lifting, the heels are gently moving down towards the ground, the fingers spread into the mat behind the head. At any point, you can just back off, have a breather. It's already 4 breaths. You're doing really well. 1 more breath. 5. Inhale, head up, eventually jump or step. Feet close together, front of the mat, lift the gaze. Exhale, you can soften the knees, of course, on these 4 bends, let the head hang. But see if you can bend the knees a little bit more to float the arms up, finishing the way we start in this second sun salutation. Exhale, straight legs, hands to sides. And on this last one, I'll use the Sanskrit numbers to count us through a few more numbers. Ekam, 1, bend the knees, inhale, arms up. Dve is 2, exhale, forward bend, let the head hang. Trini is 3, the 3rd movement, straight arm, straight back, look up. Chatwari, it's the 4th movement, jump or step back. You don't have to be doing what I'm doing, just have you get the feet back, lower down. Pancha, inhale, upward facing dog. Shat, exhale, down facing dog. Supta, right leg steps through, bend the knee, inhale, arms up. Keep breathing. Ashto, 8, exhale, hands flat down on the ground. See if you can stay low to step that right foot back and lowering down. Nava, inhale, upward facing dog, lift the chest. Desha, pressing back to your down facing dog. Ekadasha is 11, left foot steps through, bend the knees, full breath, inhale, arms up, see if you can gently look up. Dwadasha, exhale, hands on the ground, stay as low as you can to step back and then continue to lower. Trayodasha, inhale, upward facing dog. Chaturdasha, exhale, that's the count of 14 where we pause in our down facing dog. Keep breathing 5 breaths and remember, the challenge in all of these yoga postures is to try and maintain some physical stillness. This is what sets yoga aside from other types of exercise. Most of the time in a yoga practice, we're still and we're really focusing in on the sensations throughout the body and this full deep breathing. A couple more full deep breaths here then in our last down facing dog. It's 4 and 5. Inhale, that's Panchadasha 15. Jumping through, look up. Shodasha 16, exhale, falling down. And Suptadasha, bending the knees as we started, arms up. Exhale, and Samastiti, the name given to standing up, feet together, hands by sides. We're moving into our standing sequence now. So we separate the feet. We might want to soften the knees. We can either hold the ankles, shins, or eventually big toes, lift the gaze, and exhaling into Padangusthasana, our forward bend, for 5 breaths. Remember, if it's too much, don't overstretch by holding the toes. Ankles might be more appropriate. Just let the head hang. It's already 3 breaths. Try and feel the shoulders nice and soft. And wherever you are in the posture, just be happy. Just keep breathing. A few more breaths. It's 4. And 5. So to get out of this, inhale, look up, straight arm, straight back. Exhale there, pause. Now further to go is Padahastasana. If it's too much to put the hands completely under the feet, just your fingertips, or you might be still holding onto your shins or ankles, lift the gaze and then exhale, folding into the posture for 5 breaths. It's already 2 breaths. Try and keep the hips lifting up towards the ceiling as the head hangs. If it's too intense on the back of the legs, the hamstrings, with the legs straight, just soften the knees. A few more breaths. It's 3, 4, and 5. To get out of this, inhale, full breath, straight arm, straight back, look up, exhale, pause there, hands back on the waist to come up to standing, feet back together, hands by sides. Ready for a Tita Trikonasana. This is triangle. We step out to the right foot to the back, left foot turns in, arms outstretched, and then right hand goes back and down to the shin to begin with. See if you can lift that left arm up and look up. Eventually that right hand might go down to your big toe, but if you're doing that, it's important to feel like your left hip isn't collapsing down. Nice and easy on the neck to look up to your left hand. Keep pressing back into that left foot behind you. A few more breaths. It's 3 and 4 and 5. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, turning to the left side. Left foot turns to the front of the mat, right foot turns in, and then rotating to look up towards your right hand as your left hand eventually goes down towards your big toe, but if that's too far, on your ankle or the shin. Steady breathing is 3. And if it's too intense with that left leg straight at the front, just back off and soften the knee a little bit. 4 breaths already. Feel that nice stretch down the right side of the torso. Keep lifting the chest is 5. Inhale, coming up to the side and rotating to square up to the back of the mat. And if you've got a block handy, you could use it. Right foot to the back, left foot turns in, hips square, and then left hand goes down and right hand either on your waist if you're losing your balance, or eventually right hand straight up towards the ceiling, palm facing away from you as you gently look up. To keep balanced, keep pressing back into the left foot behind you. It's already 4 breaths. Try and feel that nice twist from the base of the spine out from the top of the head. Exhale, look down after 5 breaths. Inhale, coming up to square up to the front of the mat. Left foot to the front, right back foot turned in. Keep drawing your left hip back as your right hand goes down to your leg, ankle, hand, eventually flat on the ground, and then you're spiraling to look up towards your left fingers. It's already 2 breaths. 3. At some point your right hand is flat down on the ground, but don't worry if you're not going as far. It's 4. Into that right foot behind you, 1 more breath, is 5. Exhale, look down to get your bearings. Inhale, come up to the side, feet parallel, give the arms a nice stretch out. Exhale, we keep resetting to the front of the mat, feet together, hands by side. Ready for Utthita Parsvakonasana. Wider stance, right foot turns to the back of the mat, but we bend the right knee and sink down. To begin with, you want your right forearm just in front of your right knee as you bring your left arm up and eventually over a few extra degrees. So at some point we're finding that straighter line down the left side of the body. You could eventually have your right hand down on a block or the ground. Take it easy on the neck as you eventually catch sight of your left palm and keep breathing a few more breaths. Keep pressing back through that straight left leg behind you. It's 4 and 5. Inhale, we come up And we exhale to the left side, left foot to the front, right back leg is straight and that foot turns in, bend the left knee, same options. To begin with, left forearm just in front of your knee, right arm up. But eventually that right arm, palm facing forwards, comes down, and the option over time possibly to put that left hand down on the ground or on a block. Keep breathing, it's 3 breaths. Smooth breath in, smooth breath out, it's 4 and 5. Inhale, coming up to the side, give the arms a nice stretch out. And as we did for Trikonasana, the revolve version of Parsvakonasana, and this is quite challenging. So you might want to be in the position I'm in now with that right knee bent and that left knee and that left foot on the ground, hands in prayer position and turning to the right side. Now it's a little bit of a stretch to eventually get that left hand down on the ground and that right arm straight up. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you could aim to be here. And at some point, straightening that back left leg. The lunge is good to begin with, and finally turning the heel in. So I'm now showing you pretty much the full posture. Don't worry if you're not here yet. And it's important when we twist to breathe full deep breaths. That's at least 5 breaths. So we exhale, look down, inhale, come up and turn. So the left side is our second in Ashtanga Yoga, facing the front of the mat, left knee is bent, right leg out behind us. Try and hook your right shoulder on the outside of your left knee. Hands in prayer position is a nice way in, eventually trying to get that hand down on the ground and extending your left hand, that arm up towards the ceiling. Keep scanning the body. You don't want to go into any of these postures too far and find you're in discomfort or you can't breathe. Holding it for a few more breaths, it's already 4. I'm showing you the full posture here, but this is one of the more challenging standing postures. So just being realistic, to exhale, look down, to inhale, open up to the side, straight arms out, and then stepping back to the front, feet together. Now it's hands on the waist for 4 variations of a posture called Prasarita Padottanasana. Feet parallel, lift the chest. As you exhale, fall down. You could use a block and put your hands down on the block or eventually down on the ground. It's worth inhaling before any of these 4 bends to lengthen, and then exhale, let the head hang. 5 breaths then, where you could possibly have the knees slightly bent. At some point the hands are lined up with the feet about shoulder distance apart, and you're trying to draw your chest back through between the legs. Don't worry if you're not going as far as I'm showing you here, it's just an option. It's already 3 breaths. Just let the head hang. Keep the hips lifting. It's 4 and 5. Now to get out of this, it's inhale, straight arms straight back, look up. Exhale there, just pause. Take your hands back to your waist, squeeze in, and then inhale back up to standing. Keep the feet where they are if that's okay. And the B variation, inhale, arms out to the side. Exhale, squeeze onto the waist, and we're committing to not letting go of the waist as we inhale, lift the chest again. And on this second variation, going down from here. You might just go down halfway like I'm showing you. You could soften the knees slightly and just look down at the mat. And a little bit further to go is to use some abdominal strength to try and draw your chest back through between your legs. Let the head hang and you're looking straight back behind you. Lots of options. But in yoga, it doesn't matter where we are in the physical posture, so long as we're physically now still and breathing full deep breaths. That's already 4 and 5. Next inhale, lift us all the way up to standing, and exhale there. C variation. Inhale, arms straight out to the side, palms facing down. Exhale, hands behind back. You're going to have to feel your way to interlace your fingers there and maintain that contact. To inhale, lift the chest, straight arms. Exhale, just do what you can to make a priority of keeping the arms straight. Try and feel them lifting up towards the ceiling. Try and keep the hips lifting. And a little bit more openness in the shoulders will start drawing those arms back down towards the ground behind your head. Make sure there's no discomfort in the lower back. Make sure the hamstrings are happy. You can always soften the knees. You might just be where I am in this variation of the posture. It's already 4 breaths. 5 to inhale, come up, and exhale the hands onto the waist. Keep the hands on the waist for the last variation as you inhale, lift the chest. This time as we exhale, fall down, we're letting the hands travel down to either shins, ankles, or big toes. Lift the chest, and then exhale. So all of these forward bends, very similar, just different arm positions. It's 1 breath. If you're picking up the big toes, then elbows out to the side. It's 2, some point you might have the crown of the head just grazing your mat, but don't worry if you're not that far. Incidentally, if your head easily goes down towards the mat, I'd probably bring the feet a little bit closer. And again, lots of options, so you might just be where I am now for 4 breaths. There's always further to go, just be happy where you are right now. 5 breaths. Inhale, look up, straight arm, straight back. Exhale, take the hands back to the waist. Inhale the rest of the way up, and exhale, returning to reset, front of the mat, feet together, hands by sides. Ready for Parsvottanasana, either holding elbows behind back as you turn to square up to the back of your mat, right foot to the back, left foot turns in, keep drawing that right hip back, lift the chest, and exhale nice and easy as you fold over your, well, eventually straight right leg, but soften the knee a little if you need to. At some point this posture is done with your hands in reverse prayer, and you might already have moved into that, as you move your chest over that right leg and gently gaze towards your right toes. And as I'm showing you now, I'm just backing off slightly with that right knee, but I am pressing back into that left foot behind me to keep me balanced. It's already 4 breaths and 5. Inhale, come up. You could keep your hands where they are in reverse prayer and square up to the front of your mat, left side of the posture, left foot to the front, right foot turns in, draw that left hip back, lift the chest, and then exhale. Maybe just going down as far as I'm going, or maybe your torso parallel to the ground, just like this, looking down towards your toes. And further to go is to keep drawing your chest down towards that left leg. That's 3 breaths. 4. Keep breathing. 1 more breath. It's 5. Inhale, coming up to the side, feet parallel. It's nice to give the arms a stretch out. And exhale, returning, front of the mat, Samasthiti, feet together, hands by sides. Ready for Chitta Hasta Padangusthasana. Glue your left hand onto your waist, try not to let go. Nice starting point is to pick up underneath your right knee and breathe. Eventually you're holding onto your big toe with that right knee bent. Further down the line, that right leg might be a little bit straighter. And the final completion of this posture is to fall forwards. Don't worry if you're not doing this, because it's more important to find the place where you can balance and then move from there. So standing up like this is a nice way in. The second part of this posture is to take that right leg out to the side. Eventually straight, don't worry if you're keeping that knee bent or holding up underneath the knee. And you could have the final challenge of looking over your left shoulder away from that right leg. A few more breaths here, keep breathing, try and keep that left leg nice and strong. Inhale back to center, either just exhale there, or at some point you're physically folding forwards, and then right hand on your waist, try and keep that right leg floating, even if it's lower down, point the toes, and breathe. It's 3 breaths. Keep standing up nice and tall. 4, 5, exhale, release that right leg, give the legs a shake out. If you wish to switch sides, keep your right hand on your waist, nice strong right leg to bend your left knee. Same options on the left side, either picking up underneath your left knee, reaching down for the big toe with 2 fingers with that knee bent, eventually straightening out that leg in front of you, and further to go is to fall forwards, but this is optional. Realistically, standing up tall is a great way in, and as I said already, more important to find your balance than worrying about the full posture. Second part of the posture on the left side is to take the left leg out to the side. See if you can gaze over your right shoulder. Keep that left knee soft if you need to, or even be picking up underneath the knee. And you could just be looking straight ahead if looking to the side is too much. 1 more breath. We inhale, square up to the front. We could have the challenge of folding forwards, but that's optional, or just breathe out. Inhale, stand up nice and tall, and if you can keep that left leg floating, you could, but you might need to reset. I'd say it's more important to try now and keep the leg straight, even if it's just off the ground. Point the toes, nice strong right leg. A few more breaths is 4, 5, and then exhale, releasing. The next posture is called Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana. Now we're going to take it steady here because tree posture is actually a nice way in. This is one of the most challenging Ashtanga standing postures. So you don't have to go any further than this to make sure your right knee is happy and over time getting some space around that right hip. You could move on to standing half lotus, but don't force the knee. I'm going to show you the full posture by holding onto that foot and putting your left hand down on the ground and falling forwards. But this might be just something to work towards And if you were there, just lifting the gaze to look up, softening your left knee to come up to standing, and then placing that right foot down. Or you might have been in tree posture to release that leg, to switch sides. For the left side, we are nice and easy, turning that left foot out and placing it even lower down on that right leg. And it could be different on this side, or tree posture a little bit further up. Some inward pressure will keep that foot in place, hands in prayer position. No pressure to go any further than that. Full posture just so you can see, but make sure your left knee is happy. What gets the leg in this position is the rotation in the left hip. So you could reach back behind you, and I wouldn't think about falling forwards until you can actually reach for that foot. So that will be right hand going down towards the ground, letting the head hang. But to get out of this, we lift the gaze, look up, soften that right knee to come up to standing, and then wherever you were, maybe in tree posture, releasing that left leg down, hands to sides. You're doing really well. Last 5 standing postures. We move through a vinyasa to get to Utkatasana. So it's inhale, arms up, just like you're starting a sun salutation. Exhale, folding down, let the head hang. Inhale, lift the gaze, look up, straight arms, straight back. Exhale, bend the knees, hands flat down, jump or step the feet back, elbows in, and press to lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog, but we keep moving and breathing. Inhale, jump or step the feet close together, front of the mat. See if you can bend the knees, sink down, float the arms up. Now this posture is called Utkatasana, where you're gazing up at your thumbs, the same movement that we started and ended the second sun salutation in. Keep sinking down. Eventually the palms are touching, but to begin with, have a little bit of space there. It's already 4 breaths and 5. Keep the knees bent, exhale, folding down, lift the gaze. You could eventually do a little lift up, but we're essentially jumping or stepping the feet straight back to lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog, lift the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left heel turns in, right foot steps through between the hands. Bend the knee, try and feel like you're facing the front of your mat as you float the arms up. 5 breaths in Virabhadrasana. This is Warrior 1. You could work towards bending that right knee a little bit more, but take it steady. And incidentally, if that right knee goes too further forwards over the toes, I'd have more space between the legs. After 5 breaths, for the first time in this Ashtanga series, we turn to the left. Turn that back right foot in, bend your left knee. Try and feel like your left hip is pulling back to square up to the back of the mat, but we're actually now looking up towards our hands. This is Warrior on the left side. Keep breathing steady breaths, keep lifting the chest forward, but sink down over that left knee. And after 5 breaths, we stay on the left side, but turn the hips to the side of the mat and float the arms parallel to the ground, same leg position, but gazing straight to the back of your mat over your left fingertips. Try and feel the space across the shoulders as the fingertips move in opposite directions. Keep pressing back into that right foot behind you. It's already 4 breaths. You're doing really well. 1 more full deep breath is 5. Inhale, turning from left to right. So the arms stay floating. All you need to do is switch the legs. Back left leg turns in and straightens. Right leg at the front, knee bends. Gazing straight off the front of your mat over your right fingertips. Hips to the side of the mat is 3 breaths. 4 and 5. Exhale, hands either side of that right foot. Step or hop that right foot back, whatever it takes to get the feet to the back of the mat, elbows into lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down facing dog. That was our last standing posture. So now we're jumping or stepping through to sitting. Well done. Over a period of time, sitting down on the ground like this becomes a little bit more comfortable. We cultivate a little bit more awareness and space around the hips, a little bit more support in the knees. Nevertheless, we could sit on a block or 2 just to make this seated posture towards the end of the practice. We've jumped forward again now, a little bit more comfortable. We did this last week, the back of the hands on the knees, thumb and index finger touch, remaining 3 fingers pointing down towards the ground. We sit up tall, we look down, and we breathe 10 full deep breaths in this seated meditative posture. And here for 10 breaths, it's an opportunity to cultivate this quality of mind that mirrors the stillness of this posture. If at any point you need to readjust the legs, cross them the other way around, that's completely fine. Just breathing in through the nose out through the nose. Smooth breath in and out. And just a couple more moments here. Try and keep the arms fairly active. Make sure the neck feels okay with the gaze slightly tilted down. Keep the face soft. Smooth breath in and out. And that's about 10 breaths. So we lift the gaze. We can remove the block if we were sitting one. We can take the legs out to the side for shavasana. Last posture. Let the legs flop off to the side, the feet, arms off the mat, palms up towards the ceiling, back of the head on the mat. Completely let go. If you did want to maintain some of this nice heat you've built up, optionally, if you want to put some socks on, you could put a top on, you might want to get a blanket. Just try and stay warm, but let go. Relax the muscles in the arms and in the legs. Relax the support to the breathing, this support as we move through the practice. The abdomen supports this full deep breathing. Just let that be nice and soft now. As we move through this physical practice, cultivating this awareness to the abdomen to support this full deep breathing creates strength and lightness in the practice, the physical practice, but now we don't require that. So we need to let the abdomen go and let go of the full deep breathing. Just breathe, however the body is breathing itself. But I encourage you here just to maintain that awareness to the sensations throughout the body, and in particular, however you're breathing, that sensation of breath, to match the stillness of this posture, which is just as important as all the other postures we've done, with that still quality of awareness. This yoga practice is about not just the physical postures, but just developing this quieter place in our heads, where we just feel a little bit calmer, a little bit more peaceful. We can let the voice in our heads, which is often just continuously talking to us, telling us all sorts of things that worry us, make us anxious, make us angry. Let those thoughts just drift away and come back to this quieter, more peaceful place. If you wish, you may remain here a little bit longer, but I'm just going to bring you out of this relaxation by letting the arms lift up. The feet can come a little bit closer, hands back behind you, back of the hands just off the mat behind you. Bend the elbows as much as you need to. You can bend the knees, pull the knees in, reach the fingers just below the knees. You can start to slowly move from side to side and backwards and forwards. Staying in this nice curled up shape, gently rolling onto our right side. Just pausing there for another moment. Opening up the eyes, straightening out that left leg. We can support. Just taking a few moments just to feel comfortable. So how did you get on? That was fairly challenging. A little bit further to go in some of those standing postures. Remember, you could now just spend a couple of weeks just moving through this 30-minute practice. Those sun salutations, the standing postures, the variations to those standing postures. If you want the PDF that goes with this half an hour sequence, then you can download that. That's on the website. Any questions or comments, you can get in touch with me. Well done for getting through this far. You've done really well. And if you're up for it, lesson 6, it probably is out already now on YouTube, or you can find it on the website, or these lessons coming out every week. So something to work towards. And I look forward to seeing you next time on your yoga mat. Namaste. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.